Let's be clear, throughout this entire tour, it was repeated over and over that the state is working hand in glove with ICE. This facility was inspected by ICE. They review their detention standards. They are using cages. These detainees are living in cages. The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets that are toilet units that have a sink attached to it. So they essentially drink, they get their drinking water and they brush their teeth where they poop in the same unit. They bragged that they went above standards, supposedly, and gave them a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length inside the 32 detainee cage, a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length of the 3 toilets in a row. The showers provide no privacy at all. There are no curtains on it. It's a big open shower unit. There are, small walls in each shower, but we're talking about all 900 men who are held in this facility. It is built currently for 1,000, and they have no privacy at all when they're showering.
All be appalled about what's going on. We are witnessing right now. It was raining a few minutes ago. The water is rising. It's seeping through tents, and we're demanding access because we are Americans.
Reporting.
I was like, wait.
You want to talk where we at?
Outside.
You want to talk to the families where we at?
Outside.
You want that smoke where we at?
Outside.
Whose house?
Our house.
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 Black lives
Matters.
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 Oh, good morning. It's another week and more drama in America. Welcome to Let It Be Known.
Peace and love, everybody. I'm Neil Anderson, and as you can see, Black folks, we have our own agenda, and we are leading the charge for the savior of America, Stacey.
Well, I think it's something else because we're going to get into that, the detention center situation, alligator, Alcatraz, and all of that. But first, let me just say this because this stuff is all depression. You obviously had a good weekend. I had a great weekend. 2 of my girls graduated last month. And so we had a huge party on Saturday. I'm very proud of those 2, as I'm proud of all of my girls. So we had a blast. And we capped it off yesterday by going to some Mexican restaurant. So
I love Mexican food. I do.
No, you do. That's why I mentioned it.
And I love my brown brothers and sisters, and I really feel bad as to what is happening to them. They're getting a taste. It's not as bad as what happened to Black folks in slavery, but they are understanding how white folks act in this country. I feel bad for them, and I'm glad that we are supporting them, and a lot of us are understanding. Some of us are coming to the well. Some of us are not there yet. I get it. I totally understand it. But what is happening to them is horrific. What white folks are doing to them, especially white men, and then their supporters of white women. I'm not saying all white folks, but what white folks are doing to our Latino community that basically is doing the work of this country. And I'm talking about our produce in our stores, doing the jobs that Black folks, we have said, we're not doing that shit no more. Okay, they are doing the work, and y'all want to take
those are not Black jobs.
But it's horrific what they're doing to them, and I'm so glad that we are beginning to understand that as they do it to them, that we're probably next on the chopping block.
But you've talked about this. I think Grace about it's about the people, the people, the people, and they're gonna have to do this to change stuff. It's got to be the people, and we're seeing a lot of stuff, even within the MAGA folks. They are starting to really churn and turn
Are
and
they?
get upset. Yeah, and to the point Trump is threatening to deport Rosie O'Donnell, one of his biggest supporters. But more
No, Rosie
importantly,
O'Donnell. Well, no. Rosie O'Donnell is not a supporter. She's never been a supporter of Donald Trump. They've always been at odds.
oh gosh, she voted for him.
No, she
She,
didn't.
yeah, she did. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. Yes, yes, from Roseanne. Is that
No.
Roseanne Barr?
Yeah, there you go. That's the other white woman. That ain't Rosie
That's the other
O'Donnell.
one. They all look
Don't,
alike.
don't get it confused.
But I'm sorry, Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah,
I meant
don't
Roseanne.
insult her. You
Roseanne
know what?
Barr.
She used her white privilege and she went over to another country and was like, I'm done with America. We don't have
Yeah,
that privilege.
yeah,
She used her white privilege and she's
yeah.
standing 10 toes down for it.
Yeah.
But
Rosie
no,
O'Donnell is not Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr is what I'm talking about. But
mm,
even
thank
Bannon
you,
is
David
upset.
Youngblood. He said
Thank you,
Rosie
David.
hates
She
Trump.
does.
She does.
Um, but even what's his face? Stephen Bannon is upset about these Epstein's. I'm getting my mayonnaise mixed up with raisins. That's hilarious.
Good,
Um,
good.
they ups- that's terrible. They upset about these Epstein files. Listen, the bottom line with those Epstein files, it's just a distraction. Even if the truth came out and Trump was in, say if there's 100 pages and he was on 99, say there's 100 pictures and he was in 99, there ain't nothing gonna happen to him. But they are upset and they want Pam Bondi to resign. And then Trump comes out. We know what he lashed out at a reporter who asked him about the Epstein files. Now he's saying we should just forget about these Epstein stuff because it's just a Clinton, Obama, Biden conspiracy. Mm, mm, mm.
We see the pictures. It's a million pictures with Epstein and Trump. And
Totally.
what's really irritating is that that's what pisses white folks off. Epstein
Hey,
files.
there you go. There
Y'all
you go.
Epstein file. The country is going to hell in a handbasket, and y'all want to get mad at Trump about some Epstein files. Get out of here.
But it shows that you never know what it might be, but it's gonna be something where it's just everything's gonna ignite, even in his world.
I think it's gonna be the raisins and mayonnaise.
The raisins and mayonnaise. There you go. He's gonna have Mike says he's gonna have Google scrub the internet of those images. Yeah, he probably will. He'll probably threaten them somehow and
They're already out
strong
there.
arm them.
Once they're out there, you can't pull it back, partner. It's out there, and we know that you like little girls. That's why Trump the what
Little
is it
girl
called?
likes the party.
He likes little girls.
Maybe she liked to dance.
We know he bought the pageants, because he would go backstage and look at the girls as they was getting dressed. He's a pervert, okay? Y'all thought Diddy and the baby oil was something. Wait till you find out what Trump did. I believe that the golden showers.
Is that with him? Oh, shucks.
I believe that the golden showers happened in Russia. You know what I'm saying? And the
Lord.
girls peeing on the bed that Obama and Michelle slept. I believe all of it. He's a
Wait, go back. Wait. Wait,
nasty.
rewind. Wait, rewind for 1 second. I totally missed. I heard Obama in the bed.
So remember the story about he went to Russia and he rented the same room that the
Right.
Obama slept in, and he had the prostitutes in the bed.
Yeah.
peeing
Oh,
the
I
golden
remember that story well. And
I believe
supposedly
all
Putin
of
got the
it.
damages.
He's a nasty man. Okay, let's start calling him the nasty man.
Oh, they're mad at AOC. MAGA World is mad at her. Laura Loomis says she's going to be sued by Trump because she called Trump a rapist.
Really?
Yeah. They're mad at her, but they're always mad at AOC. They're always mad at Jasmine. So, well, what are you gonna do?
Wait.
Listen, so this and I guess we kicked off with that video, but this surprise inspection of Florida's alligator Alcatraz turned into a staged tour. But those lawmakers were still appalled. Representatives Wasserman Schultz, Soto, Maxwell Frost, and Moskowitz saw people caged, eating in filthy conditions, and pleading for freedom. One man said he had been left hospitalized for days. Officials tried to clean it up, but the horror was impossible to hide, as you saw in the video. So if this is what a so-called sanitized tour looks like, Niel, what nightmare is Florida hiding behind those locked doors?
Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show when Angie Dixon is back, the lawmaker. She'll join us because they also provided tours for Florida state lawmakers as well. And she's going to give us a detailed description on what is happening in the state of Florida. It is so much going on with this Trump administration. It is deplorable. But all I want to say is I know what irritates him these days, and it's them Epstein files. Let's roll the tape. You nasty man. He's a nasty man.
there must be some tapes, right? Some video.
Yeah, they're tapes, they're videos, and all of his administration, from the FBI to all of them, Cash Patel, all of them, they pissed. I'm like, y'all really mad about these Epstein files? They are like, they built their whole career on this, and so all of their fans are pissed off because they don't want to be affiliated with nothing. They want the smoke, they want the details, they want the information, even if it's at a detriment to Donald Trump. They want the information.
They really believe that there's going to be something on Obama, Clinton, and other high profile Democrats. That's what they have been led to. Oh, exactly. He's never not one time. Nobody has shown a photo. No, nothing in the guest books. So Trump has trained them to believe that if it's bad, he has to be associated with it. And that's the other side of the coin. Not only is Trump probably all throughout, well, we've seen the pictures, we shows them and all of that stuff, but there is no trace of Obama. And that kills him. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just never. I'm like, these white folks. They didn't had a flood in Trump territory. People have lost their homes. They don't give a damn. All they care about is them Epstein files. I am just amazed.
Daughter Ivanka and son Don Jr. joking about being a sexual predator.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
Well, hey, sometimes he tells the truth. But you remember, that's so funny because you remember he talked about something. He said something once that was so appalling to most fathers. Talked about how hot his daughter was, and if she wasn't his daughter, who thinks like that?
Right. And he's concerned about that, but there are so many other things going on. And one of the things is Black Lives Matter turned 12 years yesterday, and it is not, I don't know if we should celebrate it because it was due to the tragic murder of Trayvon Martin. But that movement sparked why we're having a Target boycott. That movement sparked accountability for police sanctioned violence. And joining us right now, Stacey, is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter and the leader of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, Dr. Melina Abdullah. So let's bring her into the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Sister Niel. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Black Lives Matter turned 12 yesterday. And I'm very honored to participate over the weekend in the summit that you had, which brought many of the chapters from across the country to Los Angeles. So I want you to talk to us about the summit that happened over the weekend and what the purpose was.
Sure. So it's actually not just our 51 chapters from around the country, but around the world. We just onboarded Black Lives Matter Stockholm, Sweden. So we are now worldwide. This is the largest that Black Lives Matter has ever been. The largest we had been prior to this was 40 chapters in 2020. We're now 51 chapters in 2025 and thousands of boots on the ground organizers. So it was a beautiful gathering from really Wednesday till we finished yesterday. You hear my voice is gone. But we had a really beautiful time skill building and sharing and being with each other and loving up on each other, and then really affirming what our principles are as Black Lives Matter grassroots. What is it that we stand for? And also very clearly defining our enemy as well as our goals. And so it was just phenomenal. So we had workshops, we had tours of Black Los Angeles. We had an action, because who would we be as Black Lives Matter grassroots without an action? And then last night we had a tremendous celebration where we filled the People's House, which is called the Center for Black Power. That's where you were on Friday, right? Which is the building that we purchased for Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, and Black Lives Matter grassroots sits right on the corner of Crenshaw and 43rd Place in Africatown. We had a beautiful celebration with food, but also with recommitments. The point of the meeting last night was about how do we recommit to a movement, especially in times such as this.
And Dr. Molina, another anniversary. What's different now than perhaps you haven't seen in the 12 years, right, of Black Lives Matter? What's different today that you haven't seen before?
Well, I think the world hasn't seen this level of fascism and unmasked racism. We haven't seen a world before. I haven't witnessed a world where African American men from Texas, born and raised, the child descendant of enslaved people, can be deported. I haven't seen a world where after the meeting, I came home, and one of the things that we do at all of our meetings is we believe in mutual aid, right? So, we have grocery bags. So after every meeting, I go and I do my deliveries. So I deliver 10 bags every month. There's 150 bags, but my share is I deliver 10 bags to folks who need groceries, right? Usually elder folks in community. And so after I delivered my 10 bags, I came home and there was an unknown truck in front of my house. And I was going, should I get out my car? Because I don't know who these two men sitting in this truck are. And will somebody see me if they snatch me up? I haven't seen a world like that.
That's deep, Dr. Molina. And I want to say too, I really appreciate the love you show to the community. When I went, Stacy, on Friday, I got a Black Medias Matter t-shirt. Like they constantly, like Black Lives Matter is just not about advocacy, but it's also taking care of the community and caring about Black folks. I really appreciate that. And I want to talk to you about this right here. This is the Black Lives Matter status report, action report. Can you give us some of the status of Black Lives Matter right now that's happening across the country?
Sure. So in your hot little hands, Sister Neil, is our action report, which was just released on Friday. In fact, the official release will come today. And what that is every year we report on all of the action that's moving. And especially now when most cameras have turned away, they don't always know about the struggles that we've engaged in and the victories that we are winning. So in the action report, it's broken down into many areas. I'll just talk about the seventh area, the final area, which is abolition. That we know that Black Lives Matter is committed to upending systems of harm like prisons and policing and building systems of care. We know that real public safety for Black people means making sure our community has the resources that we need. So one of the things you see in the abolition section, because we are abolitionists, is that we were able to free one of our contemporary political prisoners. And Sister Niele knows, and you may know as well, Brother Stacy, that one of the things that we've been fighting for is the freedom of a sister named Brittany Martin, who is a freedom fighter. And in 2020, she led the Black Lives Matter protests in the name of George Floyd in Sumter, South Carolina. This pregnant mother, then of 6, now of 7, was arrested for protesting in Sumter, South Carolina, charged with a felony, and sentenced to, I believe it was 7 years in prison for simply speaking words to an officer. She said to this cop, "I'm willing to die for the black. Are you willing to die for the blue?" Pregnant mother. Those are words. And she wound up being ripped away from her family, forced to have her 7th child inside the prison and be away for all of those years. But we kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And at the end of 2024, we were able to free Brittany Martin. That's but one of the victories. There's Brittany with some of her children just after she came home. That's one of the victories that we got to celebrate and lift up in that report. There's many others. We're working now on something called Waukesha's Law. Waukesha Wilson was killed inside a Metro Detention Center here in Los Angeles. We're winning a 24-hour family notification law here in California. There's a lot that we're moving. And so the report outlines all of those things. It outlines our Youth Vanguard scholars who we provide scholarships to every single year. Our youth advocates receive support from us, not as much as support as we'd like to give because our resources have been stolen. But what we can muster, we make sure that we support them as they're away at school. And then, of course, we have things like our Hands Off Students campaign. We have the work that we do globally, saying that we are in solidarity with the people of Palestine. We are in solidarity with all oppressed people around the world. And so all of that is listed as much as we can in, I believe that's a 42-page report.
It is. It is.
Where do you get it? Where can people can see that? I mean, we know that Niele has a nice copy, but our viewers, could they go to your website or somewhere else?
Yes. Well, later today, it will be posted on blmgrassroots.org. That's blmgrassroots.org.
And so I want to talk to you about the video that we showed in the beginning that you sent over to me. You guys were at a house and you were giving BLM chants. Can you talk to us about what happened? I guess that was yesterday, that right there?
That's right. So who you see in this video, I see Sister Cariel from BLM Buffalo. I see Brother Andrew from BLM Florida. I see Brother Clyde from BLM Will County, Illinois. And the house that we're in front of, that we're videotaping, that we're yelling at, that we're chanting at, is the so-called $6 million mansion. So the money that we ever had control over is BLM Grassroots, is BLM Los Angeles specifically. We bought a property on the corner of Crenshaw and 43rd that we named the Center for Black Power. We open it up to Students Deserve. We open it up to youth programs and giveaways. We do a weekly food giveaway, mutual aid work. It's the people's house. It is there to build Black Power. What Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, which is now a body that has been stolen by 3 highly paid consultants, Shalomia Bowers, Cecily Gay, and Dejanay Parker, what they did with the almost $100 million that came in 2020 and the $15 million that came in on average every year since, is they bought a house not in the hood, not in the neighborhood where Black people can get to, but in affluent white Studio City that they call the BLM Creators House. And later in the video, you'll see us zoom in on the sign that's over the door. What we know is families, and that's Brother Dewan from BLM Flint. What we know is that the families of those who have been killed by police and white supremacy have been blocked from being able to ever use or set foot inside that house. What we know, because the gate that we're standing in front of at some point in that video magically opened, right? We didn't open it. You see it's about to slide. It slid open. There we go. And we finally walked up to the front door. What we know is there are children's shoes at the front door. There is some woman with a photo and her child at the front door. None of these people are people who've had their children killed. None of these people are frontline organizers. What we know is that there are people who've been proven to have private parties in this house. That is not what people donated money to Black Lives Matter for. And so what we did is stand outside with at least 6 or 7 family members and say, return the money, return the resources to the movement so that we can use it for the good of Black liberation. And so that's the house that you see. And that's our courageous sister Jan from Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles, saying, hey, the gate opened, let's go up. And then finally we go, well, I guess it's not illegal, right? And so we walk up to the door, ring the bell, and ask them to come out. Nobody ever does, but we're saying here again, loud and clear, return the money. Cecily Gay, return the money. Shalomia Bowers, return the money. Dejanay Parker, return the money, return the platforms, return the good name of Black Lives Matter to the people who birthed, built, and fueled the movement.
Have you had occasion in recent times to speak to any of them directly?
No. And in fact, the last time we went to a house, we were led by the mother of Quandavier Hicks, who was killed in Cincinnati, Ohio, by police. And we went to the mini mansion of Cecily Gay in Alpharetta, Georgia. She immediately called the police on this Black mother of a son who was killed by police. So no, they've never spoken with us. We asked them for the resources back when they made it clear that they were stealing them. In 2022, we sent a letter, we made calls, we sent an open letter, and then we finally filed a lawsuit. And what they did is weaponize those hundreds of millions of dollars against us, hired Hillary Clinton's attorney and countersued us, and wound up actually having hundreds of thousands of dollars more stolen as we were forced to pay their court fees. So no, we haven't spoken with them. We would love to speak with them and ask them why they feel entitled to travel in private jets with makeup teams to, I think yesterday, Cecily Gay was spotted at a Black Women in Baseball event in Atlanta where she stood on a red carpet wearing couture and acted like that means that's Black Lives Matter work, and it's not.
Before we let you go, we have coming up somebody that you honored for Black Women Divine, lawmaker out of Florida, Angie Nixon. She's going to join us and talk about a term that you use a lot, which is police sanctioned violence. Before we let you go, can you talk to us about what that means when people hear the term police sanctioned violence?
Right. So when we say state sanctioned violence, we mean the violence that is enabled by the state, by the United States, which was built on the stolen land of indigenous people and the stolen labor and lives of our African ancestors. We know that the state, even though George Zimmerman, who stole the life of our collective son, Trayvon Martin, on July 13th, 2013, he was acquitted by a state. George Zimmerman himself was not a cop, but the state acquitted him on July 13th, 2013, condoning that murder, condoning that violence. The state sometimes is also behind the gun when we think about the role of the state in stealing Dejan Kazee's life here in Los Angeles, right? In stealing Ryan Hinton's life in Cincinnati, Ohio. They sanctioned, they enabled, they allowed for those thefts. And so that's what we mean when we say state-sanctioned violence. And that's why we say we're abolitionists, because we have to transform a state that allows for and enables and really sometimes benefits and profits from the murders of Black people.
Wow.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We thought it was definitely important. As the world turns with Trumpisms, it's important to think about the things that are impacting Black folks. So to have you here this morning, greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And people can follow our real work at BLM Grassroots on social media.
And they can find the report where?
blmgrassroots.org, blmgrassroots.org. Really appreciate y'all. That t-shirt is because we're grateful for Black media who continues to tell the real story.
And Stacey said he's doing the call, so he's going to be on the next call.
Thank you so much.
But right, exactly. But let me say this real quick before you go. Just before you came on, David Youngblood, I think it was David Youngblood or Mike V. One of them had said that they wish we had you on this morning, and then you came on, and they were very happy.
Oh, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you. Hope to talk soon.
For sure. Peace and love. All right, Stacey, we can move into our next guest right now. I think Greer played the video. A lot of lawmakers in Florida were able to finally check out what's happening at Alligator Alcatraz. And last week we had lawmaker from Florida, Angie Dixon, on to give us an update. She was able to tour the facility. And so let's bring her in now to get an update and the status on what's happening down in Florida. Let it be known, family, welcome representative from Florida, Angie Dixon. Welcome back.
Hi, how are you?
We are good. Lots happening in Florida. We saw that our federal lawmakers were there, but you've been boots on the ground, raising the alarm. Can you give us a status update of what you saw at Alligator?
Yeah, so what I saw on Saturday was a hyper curated, super sanitized tour / field trip for some. Down in what we like to call the Everglades internment camp, Everglades detention center. We don't want to speak to their language that they're giving this, right? Because those folks that are being detained there and housed there, many of them are not criminals, right? And so that's what we saw, right? We saw folks who were having asylum scheduled. They were scheduled for asylum court dates to potentially get granted asylum, and some of them had been taken up and pulled in by ICE. What I saw was a waste of taxpayer dollars. There were countless SUVs, countless law enforcement officers, military personnel. And I don't even think that the $450 million price tag included a lot of the personnel that they claimed were volunteers, right? And so who had volunteered for the assignment. What we also noticed was there were cages where they kept people, and there were only over 32 people to a cage, and they only had 3 restrooms in the middle of in the middle of the cage, and those folks would get their water from the toilet as well. There was no privacy or anything like that. We did see some detainees during the intake process, and they were shackled, and we asked the director of the Florida Department of Emergency Management what were the crimes that these detainees committed. And so there were 3 wristbands, I believe, that they wore. It was a yellow, a red. I couldn't remember what the other one was, but Some of the quote unquote crimes were driving without a license or running a stop sign, right? And so these are like that just goes against everything that Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis stated they needed to build out this detention facility for. And so they said it was going to be the worst of the worst of the worst. And I'm sorry, but my daughter, who's 18, just got in trouble for like running a red light. She is not a hardened criminal, right? And so
Right.
though the people that they're picking up and putting in this detention facility are, you know, your construction workers. They are folks that are working in senior living facilities, that are working in childcare facilities, that are working in your hospitality industry. And it is just a political stunt that has gone awry. And the Republicans in my colleagues, they know it. They're trying to save face. And it's speaking to what our country has become. Actually, what our country has already been, right? It's returning us back to the past and how they treated folks so inhumanely. And look, at the end of the day, the state of Florida does not have a good track record for the way in which they detain people. Our Florida prisons are not required to have air conditioning units, which is one of the reasons that I decided to file legislation regarding it. But of course, I'm in the minority, so they did not want to hear my bill. The Florida prison system has a history of not providing the quality health care that these folks need at times. And so this is it was gross to see.
Yeah, the Florida prison system has a history of a whole lot of things we know. I remember doing a story a couple of years ago or so, and others have done this story too. They had basically the Klan mixed in with one of the sheriffs or whatever, went after to kill black corrections officers. I mean, a whole lot down in Florida. But let me say this, Representative Nixon, when people go to jail, it's not expected that they're going to have the best of conditions. But what you are describing, what others have described, this is a concentration camp, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an internment camp. It's a concentration camp. And again, these folks aren't like they couldn't tell us. He would not tell us how if they were mixed in together. The director. And some of these folks are not like they have not committed any crimes. And not only that, the director said that is supposed to be the last resort before they are deported. And they are supposed to only be there for 2 weeks. And I'm trying to figure out who gave the state of Florida the jurisdiction to be able to like deport people. And so these are questions that we are asking and we're trying to get answers to. And it's just been a lot of evasiveness on the part of the director of emergency management. Not only that, though, let me tell you what happened. So there were 2 tours that took place. I wind up going into the second tour. What I heard from my colleagues on the first tour was they did actually get a chance to see into the where the detainees were being held in the units where they would sleep a little bit. Apparently a door flung open and the detainees were shouting libertad, libertad, which means freedom or liberty in Spanish, right? And so their tour ran over a long time. And so when we got in, we were rushed and they kept making mention of, oh, let's hurry up because it's about to rain. There's a storm coming. There's a storm coming. And we say, no, we're fine. We want to see what it's like when it rains here. Because previously, video has shown that it was flooding. And so we asked them, like, we said we still had more questions. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, there's a lockdown. We got to get y'all out of here. there's a situation, a security issue that's happening, and we need to get y'all out of here. And so they like whisked us away and wouldn't allow us to continue asking questions. And we know that it was not for a security issue. We are really assuming that it was because it was about to rain and they did not want us to see flooding happening.
So, I mean, this seems like a hopeless situation when we think about what can people do. But there are millions of people from across the country that are watching this happen. We've heard that they are possibly building another makeshift concentration camp in Florida. What would you say to the American people who are concerned? What can we do?
Yeah, so there's always something that we can do. And the organization that I work for has created a petition, and we're making phone calls and putting pressure on the Miami municipal government, the county government down there, to actually sue the state of Florida for them taking that property and trying to pay them way below market value, right? And so we can also continue to push Ron DeSantis and the Republicans here in the state and making phone calls and sending emails to them, letting them know that we don't care about them. Like, we do care about them wasting taxpayer dollars, but we want them to care about the fact that our property insurance rates are continually rising. They are like number one, the highest rates in the country. Our car insurance rates are some of the highest rates in the country. They're closing schools in Duval County, and yet you throw up a $450 million taxpayer funded makeshift internment concentration camp. Like, those are the things that you should be concerned with, the lack of mental health resources that we have, the fact that there are still folks with disabilities on wait lists to be able to get the services that they need. And so they need to hear from us, which is why they threw together this, again, hyper curated tour, because they received that, like, they're hearing and feeling the backlash of folks from all over the country calling them and emailing them. And look, at the end of the day, this is going to spread if we don't stop it here. It is coming to my backyard in Jacksonville. It's going to be moved to Clay County at Camp Landing. And so we could potentially stop this if we put enough pressure on Donald Trump's administration and Ron DeSantis' administration, and also like let your legislators in your state know that you do not want this type of thing to happen. They have to hear from us. Right now, they're hearing from the ultra radical extremist conservatives that are saying this is the type of thing that they want. And look, like us 92%ers, we got to jump in because, again, they just revoked TPS status for Haitians. And so who's to say they ain't going to pick up Black people and say, oh, I thought you were an undocumented immigrant, and they're not providing due process. So it's going to take a while for you to even get, connected to your attorney and whatnot, or to have access to legal counsel, right? And so we have a person in the White House who's even talking about revoking a U.S. born citizen's citizenship. Like, and everything Donald Trump has said he was going to do, he has done. And so we should not take this stuff lightly. And so if he's going after Rosie O'Donnell simply because she's a political foe, he'll potentially go after us for being upset and pushing back against what he said. So like, now is the time to jump in and push back and try to stop this.
Yeah.
Greer's asking, and then she's showing the picture now, Representative Nixon, that we see pictures holding 1776 flags outside of the prison. Do you see a lot of that? Did you see that?
So we saw some protesting. We saw some folks that were in support of that. We also saw a lot of folks that were down there that were against it. And I want to say, like, there were a lot more protesters that were against it, were just basically talking about the environmental impact. I mean, that is true down in the Everglades, right? But again, they're going to throw these makeshift concentration internment camps up all across the country if we don't stop them. And so we should be, as Americans, right? We should be also upset about the lack of humanity that's happening, and the fact that they're treating these people without dignity, and the fact that they don't have due process, and many of the folks that are getting detained are not criminals. And so if they're doing that to them, we could be next. And so we have to push back on this.
Right. And then last question, which was Friday, you and several of your colleagues, lawmakers, filed a lawsuit. Can you talk to us about that lawsuit that you filed and where it is right now?
Yeah, we just filed a lawsuit. We're waiting to hear back from the courts in regards to when we can argue the writ. And so I'm having a call with my attorneys tomorrow. We're having a call with our attorneys tomorrow. So we filed a lawsuit because they basically violated the law and did not allow myself and 4 other colleagues to go into the facility unannounced, which is our statutory right as state lawmakers. And so we filed a lawsuit against Ron DeSantis and the not duly elected, but the appointed state attorney, Attorney General James Utmeyer, whatever his name is, in regards to them not allowing us to go in and not allowing us to do our jobs, and which is to provide oversight, because there is a lack of transparency that is happening as it relates to this facility. And so that has been filed, and Ron DeSantis has called it frivolous and stated that basically that we should be countersued and all the things. And again, they have a lot to hide. And I don't trust Ron DeSantis at all. Him and his wife moved $10 million that should have been allocated to Floridians. They put it in their private nonprofit. And so these are the types of things that Ron DeSantis has done. And so I don't trust anything that he does. And so we decided to file this lawsuit, and we're taking it up in court.
Wow. Well, Representative Nixon, we certainly appreciate you. You have kept your word. You've come back. That's one great thing. But the other is that, you are speaking in a way that Democrat followers, people who vote Democrat, hope that their leaders began to speak. And it seems so interesting. You mentioned 92%, and brought a smile to Neil's face because she uses that expression all the time. But I look at you, and on the national level, there's Jasmine Crockett, two committed Black women who are no nonsense. So we appreciate that from you guys.
No, for sure. I mean, I am critical of this country because I love it and because my ancestors helped build it. But, I want to make it better, right? And so I'm going to critique it and work to make it better. And as a Black woman, I hate being called in at the last minute to fix mess, which is oftentimes what happens. And so I am imploring the 92%, let's go ahead and step in, y'all, because we don't want to have to work harder because we didn't, jump in the front end. Get your rest. Summer's almost over, but let's get to work.
Yeah, you're inspiring a lot of us, You're inspiring a lot of us. Peace and love, and we can't wait to have, we don't want to have you back on these horrific conditions, but at the same time, your voice is critical to motivate us, women and Black men. And so thank you, and we'll be in touch.
For sure. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, Stacey, our time is almost up. So I think I only have one more headline for today. And of course, I have to give it to the 92%. Okay. The Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated sorority we talked about the Deltas last week, so we got to give them their shine. They're having their convention, or they held their convention in Anaheim, California. They were at Disneyland, but they also had some honorees, Stacy, that they inducted. And so we want to shine some light on them. So the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated recently inducted several new honoree members. And those inductees include Laura Coates, your homegirl, who you like, Corinne Jean-Pierre.
That's Austin's girl.
Gabby Thompson and Beverly Johnson. So now they're all honorary Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority members.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, black
Yeah.
2%. We gon', that is my headline for today.
Well, this one thing I did want to run past our viewers and yourself. A sweeping piece in the Atlantic. Mark Leibovich calls out Barack Obama for going quiet while Trump works his legacy. Once the Democrats' greatest communicator, according to Leibovich, Obama now sticks to tepid statements and summer reading lists. Some call it, according to Leibovich, again in the Atlantic, heartbreaking. But others wonder, after 2 terms and years spent campaigning for Democrats, what exactly is Barack Obama supposed to do now? Is he really abandoning the fight, or are people just expecting him to save democracy all over again by himself?
Where's Bill Clinton? Where's George W. Bush?
Right.
I mean, where are the white men at? Where they at? Stop. You want black women to save democracy. Now you want Obama to save democracy. Where's Bill Clinton at? Now that Trump has destroyed the Epstein files, he's destroyed the Epstein files. Where's Bill Clinton?
Huge layout in the Atlantic on this. I mean, they gave it huge treatment. We got a video to show you. Whenever Greer's ready to show the video.
I'm making this point because the Democratic Party cannot exist. Hear me on this. We do not exist to just throw a damn party every 4 years and announce the nominee. Every single day, there are elections across this country that matter to your life. And we have done a crap job of treating those people with respect. And so I have this crazy idea that we ought to invest in folks running for school board like we do for people running for U.S. Senate. I have an idea that when somebody runs for mayor, we ought to interview them and not just the people running for Congress. Because I will tell you this, the gerrymandered maps that we have here in Louisiana and everywhere else, those maps weren't gerrymandered in D.C., they were gerrymandered where you live. The people who were banning the books, they were getting banned before the dumb lady from WW, wherever the hell she came from. They were being banned at your school board meeting where your kids go to school. And when I think about the need to build affordable housing, there are zoning board meetings that might be happening tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock that you're not going to, that is going to decide whether and how we build out the things.
And there you have it. So they're trying to dump this on Barack Obama, huh?
Yeah, but Malcolm Kenyatta, that is the vice chair of the DNC. He was just reelected, but that's something that I always talk about. Politics are local. It's local politics. It's state politics that, we just talked to Dr. Melina Abdullah, community organizer, who is building Black political power out of everyday people. We just had the state representative of Florida on talking about what's happening. And so politics are local. And when we understand that, that is one of the huge plays that the Republican Party uses. They start locally. Everything starts with the school board. That's critical race theory. That's banning books. They put people in school board positions. And so when we can adopt, and even though they are horrendous, horrific, nasty people, we still can take a play out of their playbook and understand that politics are local. And if we want to really attack this Trump Klan administration, it's going to start on a local level. It's going to start on a state level. It's not going to start with Hakeem Jeffries. It's not going to start with, we love her to death, Jasmine Crockett, but politics are local. And so once we get involved on a local level, then we can really start seeing the change that we want to see with this Trump Klan administration.
Yeah, David Youngblood says, I would like to see President Obama out there, if only to make the point Black people are the saviors of democracy.
Well, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He is we going to save ourselves. Okay. That's what's going to happen. He ain't going to do that because he's thinking long-term. He's thinking legacy. He wants his term, his time in office. He wants to create that story. He's building his library. We would love to see him out, but he ain't coming out. And so he's not going to save us. We have to save ourselves. And it starts with local politics. I love the Obamas to death. I love them to death. But I don't think that we should be dependent on him or even be critical of him because he's not standing out. Like I said, where is Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton being quiet, okay? Black folks loved him too. They loved him when he played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. They loved, where is he at? Where is?
Well, he's probably breathing a sigh of relief too that the Epstein files are destroyed.
Right. And somebody put in the chat, where is Mike Pence? Mike Pence was on the news the other day talking about MAGA's not that big. They're just a small. So Mike Pence is where are these white men at? Where are the allies at? Let's get off the Black men. Let's get off the 92%. Where are the white allies at? The white men that could really say something. They not saying nothing either. So back up off of the Obamas.
Well, and Mike Pence, and yeah, Greer's right. He's all of a sudden now he's starting to praise Trump. So,
but he said this the other day. He said MAGA's not that big. That's not really a big deal. They don't consume the Republican Party. That's what he said the other day. So let's start pushing up on these white men. Where are they at?
And the Stephanie Humphrey channel says that President Obama is not responsible for saving democracy. This here is a collective calling and effort.
Amen. What the young
Oh boy. All right. So on this date, folks, are gonna give you some Black history. In 1955, America dedicated its first national park honoring a Black American, the George Washington Carver Monument in Diamond, Missouri. He was born enslaved, but Carver rose to become a brilliant inventor who created over 100 products from the peanut, everything from gasoline to plastics, and transformed agriculture forever. So this is a great anniversary on this date in 1955. Finally, George Washington Carver. And folks, our Black-owned newspaper of the day is the Carolinian. The Carolinian newspaper has been a pillar of Raleigh, North Carolina since 1940. When Paul R. Gervais Sr. founded it, he envisioned a newspaper that would break the chains of ignorance and empower a community hungry for truth. That mission is just as urgent today, and the Carolinian believes that we all have more information at our fingertips than ever before, yet we know less about our own history. With that, the Carolinian remains committed to being the vital link that keeps our past alive and our progress moving forward. So check out the Carolinian online, or if you're in the Raleigh, Durham area in North Carolina, pick up a physical copy of the Carolinian newspaper.
That's right. Thank you for all your comments in the chat. David Youngblood, Joni Toole, Michelle Madison, and then the Stephanie Humphreys channel. Thank you guys all for your comments. We'll be back tomorrow. But in the meantime and in between time, if you want to know what's happening with Black America, you want to head over to blackpressusa.com. Tons of story, tons of information, keeping you up to date with the stories that are impacting the Black experience.
There you have it. We'll see you tomorrow.